Episode 4, Fight Talk, here with Declan Geraghty, Martin Wall. We'll discuss tomorrow night's fight, let's go through them from top to bottom, see what the lads think, get some honest opinions on how the fights are going to go. Might as well start with the main event, boys.
Look, as long as no one gets offended here by any of these opinions, they're only ways I'm viewing the fights. Back and forth on the Ryan Donovan on the main event.
Well, the rules of this podcast is there's no sitting on the fence.
Yeah,
there was people to be on the show, but they were going to sit on the fence, and there's no point sitting on the fence. No one's going to tune in to watch. So the lads have been asked to come and give an honest opinion on the fights, using their knowledge of the fighters, what they've seen, and how the lads view each fighter they're fighting against. There's not a personal thing. There's nothing about that. So, Martin, Paul, Edward Donovan, cracking fight, middleweight.
Great fight. Look, first real fight at middleweight for Edward. Paul's kind of been floating around that way for a while now. Obviously had that big tournament out in Saudi. Got clipped in his last fight when he was dominating. That's twice now we've seen him get hurt. Is there a bit of an issue with the punch resistance? There may not be. He should be the bigger man in there tomorrow night. But we saw at the weigh-in today, he looked a bit drained. That's why my thinking. I mean, in my head all week I was thinking Paul Ryan will do it. He's probably going to be a bit too slick and his reflexes are good. But he didn't look great today at that weigh-in. And if he doesn't rehydrate properly and safely, more importantly, I think Edward Donovan might have a little bit too much for him tomorrow. I'm not sitting on the fence. I'll go 60-40 Donovan. Ryan could completely show up tomorrow looking full, fresh, ready to go. And if he does, he should win. But at the moment, I'm thinking Edward's probably going to pip him because he's just... I only looked at it 5 minutes ago. He looked terrible today. At the weigh-in now.
Some people do that, don't they? Though I'd say you see lads, they rock in. You've seen lads before. I'm sure you've seen them. You've travelled the world fighting. You've seen lads being held up on the scales, and then they go out the next night and they're animals. I don't know how some people do it, but today there was a lot of talk of how Paul looked on the scales. Paul told me, great camp, weight cut perfect, everything was done down to a T. Some lads do it that way. He's confident. I spoke to him this evening. How he feeling? He's feeling great. He's so thankful. He can't believe this opportunity. He says he's not letting it go. This is the start of something special. He wants to be the next big name in Dublin. He's covered over 200 tickets, so he's...
Paul is white and ginger, so he's going to look either way fucked, to be honest with you. But, yeah, he's going to look fucked either way. But all boxers do turn around and say, I had the best camp ever before the fight. They never let anything go. Like, I've gone into every fight injured, has some sort of injury, and everything's been a great camp and also true to it. So you don't know what's true and what's true. But,
I mean, I think there's more pressure on Paul given the nature of his last fight. The lads are both coming in off losses. Edward's somewhat unlucky with it was a cut eye, wasn't it?
The clash with Craig O'Brien.
But then you can argue,
he was losing the fight.
Yeah, he was losing the fight. I mean, Craig was coming in inactive.
It was the spirit broke before the cut happened.
There's one
they
of
did
them.
In that fight, to be fair, that fight looked like there was frustrations.
Yeah.
It did look like Edward was getting frustrated in that fight because Craig looked the sharper in there. But
you were saying a lot more pressure on Paul. I think there's more pressure on Edward because of, to be honest with you, the Donovan's a big name. True Paddy. You know, man, what Paddy's that they're achieving. So I think there's more pressure on Edward, but it is in Dublin. So as you said, I'm sure Paul's down a lot of tickets. So there's gonna be pressure on both of them. I just think Edward's a bigger name through the brother and the family itself than what Paul is. Me personally, I think Paul's gonna win. I think both of them are two good boxers. I've watched both of them. I've trained with Paul. I just think Paul is a bit more slicker than Edward. Edward is going to be used to fighting southpaw through the years of sparring with his brother, so which will help him. But Edward switches. He's a bit more flat-footed than what Paul is. Paul is a bit more elusive and a bit more skill. Where I'm gonna go with Paul on that fight.
Do we think being the main event's gonna play a part? To you, that lads.
I think Edward from what I get from Edward, I think Edward wants to get out of Paddy's footsteps.
Absolutely.
Of course,
because it's just his career has been stop, start, and don't get me wrong, he idolises Paddy. Yeah. And like he loves being in the camps. He spent the last camp with Paddy. He's been in the camp with Parker in the last few weeks as well. But I just get, he hasn't said it, but I just kind of get he feels maybe because what's happened with Paddy there and
the controversy.
I think Paddy not winning that last fight, and I think he feels the pressure of of that like, can he not win? Like, can he lose now after Paddy's loss? That pressure on. But I do believe now I think he feels if he wins this, it's not Paddy's brother anymore. It's Edward.
Absolutely.
And I think he does deserve that from his amateur career, because like, he did have a fantastic amateur career.
The both of them achieved, but Paul and Edward both achieved big things as an amateur.
Both European medalists.
But just didn't go senior level really. But they did very well as an amateur. But like I said, there's a lot of boxers coming through at the moment, and there's only a handful of boxers I will say actually has the amateur skill.
Yeah.
And the amateur pedigree. There's a few on this card. There's a few who go through who have it, and there's some who are just raw novices.
Yeah.
And they're just tough. And these two ain't raw novices. These two are very good boxers. I just think one has a better IQ than the other. But this is the program, so it's not always just about the IQ. It's about the grit and the toughness. But both have lost. Both have kind of basically is the class of stoppage with a cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Both,
technically,
you know what I mean?
suppose, yeah.
Paul has been stopped twice, been chinned twice. He has been, one was against a 3-3 lad, and then the other one was against the opponent who's still, as we talked about earlier, is still into the competition. He's into the semi-finals of the competition, so it's
he's the favourite to win it.
So that's what Mark was saying.
He's world 27, is he?
Yeah, he's very good.
And Paul was winning that fight, but
he dropped him as well.
Yeah, no,
Paul had him down.
Yeah, like but that's the thing. I think the fight's been overlooked. I think it's a high caliber fight. It is a high caliber fight. I know they're both are coming off losses, and then you're going, there's two lads fighting for Irish titles, and these lads aren't.
Yeah.
But that's down to eligibility and
just
things like that. But these lads are definitely.
I think like, it's a great main event, and it is going to be a great fight. It's not. I don't think like Edward comes forward.
He does.
Edward comes forward. He does, and Paul can come forward as well, but he can box a bit on the back foot. I actually think Edward's going to come forward, and Paul is going to retreat. That's the way I see it going.
Yeah.
I think the only thing Edward's a bit more heavy-footed than what Paul is. Edward's going to plod forward a little bit more. He can feint, he can set up traps, but Paul's just that bit elusive upper body wise. Yeah, let's duck, dive, and roll a bit more. So I do think it's going to be a points win for Paul. I don't think it's going to be a stoppage.
Yeah. And you're swaying towards Edward.
Swaying towards Edward. Just
Declan hasn't changed your mind.
He has been nearly 50-50. I think weight cuts can be a fire before they even get in the ring.
Yes, definitely. And Edward looks huge towards him.
Edward
looks huge
towards him.
That's
the talk of the evening now. I'm in a few WhatsApp groups, and I'm not commenting them. I'm kind of looking into them, and the talk is, and there's pictures gone in to show the difference in size. But
don't get me wrong.
I've seen that.
Don't get me wrong. I could see Edward winning as well. Edward's a very, very good boxer.
Can Edward hurt Paul?
I've just trained with Paul and seen it, so I've seen it firsthand. You've trained with Paul yourself as well, so I've seen what Paul's. I've seen Paddy train spar, so I know how good Paddy is. I've never really seen too much of Edward.
Yeah.
Just what I've seen him fight, and I've always told that Edward was better than Paddy. And then when I seen him fight, I go, he's not as good as him. You know what I mean? But some people perform better in the gym than they do on the night. And I'm prime example of what has happened to me as well, where I'm better in the gym than the fight. So people have seen Edward how good he is, but I've just, as the fights, I've watched a few fights, I watched the fight in the stadium he just doesn't look as slick as what Paul does.
Yeah, and we might have a case of Edward performing to the level of the opponent.
That's true.
So if he has Paul coming forward trying to take his head off, I mean, Craig O'Brien, fantastic boxer, but he's not a big puncher.
Yeah.
If he has the proposition tomorrow of Paul thinking, I have to fight fire with fire here or I'm going to get chinned, we might see Edwards throwing bombs at some point. I don't know if he can hold Paul. If Paul recovers properly, puts the weight back on and is feeling good in that ring tomorrow, he's a big middleweight, you know what I mean?
But what we'll say as well is, sorry to interrupt, Paul has been dropped twice and he looks fucked at the weigh-in. So is he going to recover like that? Like already, I'm not going to say he's chinny by no means of form, but he has been dropped twice out of his 2 losses. So people all question, is he chinny? I've seen him spar and I don't think he's chinny, but them little gloves is different. And then also being weight drained now, is it going to affect even more? Is it going to give Edward even a bigger advantage?
Yeah. It's one of them, like a flip-flopping on a fantastic fight. I'll nail my name to Eddie. 60, like I said, 60-40. I could be looking ringside tomorrow at Paul getting in the ring going, that's not the same fella that we saw at the weigh-in. We'll see, but I agree with Deco as well. I think it's going the distance. I don't see either lad stopping the other. I think they both, Edward talked about it on his episode here. of all the heart that the two lads have.
Yeah.
And Paul is not going to want to have another stoppage.
No.
Defeat
I don't
on
think
his
Paul can
record
afford
at any
stoppage,
stage.
another stoppage loss. He can't.
It's a big fight for both, and it's going to be a big loss for both after both of them come back from losses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a serious kick in the balls to pick up a loss. You know what I mean?
There's other fights on the card where the lads will probably fight the winner and the loser.
That's what's already said.
Or mixed match.
Yeah.
They're going matching it here, going, well, look, you lose that one, but you have the loser of this one now. The two of you come back. No more. Don't rebuild with 4 or 5 journeymen. We don't need it anymore.
Matthew Mackin used to say to me for years, it's sometimes your stock rises with a loss.
Yeah.
And it's true, especially with these kind of fights. With the fights, is like, as you're saying, I don't mix a match where someone loses, you give them an opportunity to get back into another 50-50 fight.
100%.
So that's why that's what's good about, as you saying there, going back, rebuilding, fighting journeymen. It's a serious. The kicking the ball is going back to at the tail end of the card, you know what I mean? Instead of being up at the top, you know what I mean?
They're making less money.
Yeah, less money, and then
like everyone on the main card is getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, they're all making money tomorrow night. You know, whereas like Sean Murray lost his last 2 fights.
And he's still in a big fight.
And he's in a fight with Peter Carr. If he wins that fight, realistically, he could fight John Boyd, he could fight Richie O'Leary for a Celtic title next.
Yeah,
because he's coming off a good domestic win. And he goes, makes more money, but he's back on the top end of the card, he's fighting for the title. Whereas if he fought tomorrow night for a journeyman fight, he would have been losing money.
Yeah, he might.
He doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't sell tickets. He hasn't got the ability to sell tickets.
The lads turning pro have to understand is this is probably the way to go forward. You know what I mean? It's to take the chances because of well and good selling tickets, but being forced on the show, where the show, as you know, the show's starting at 5 tomorrow, being forced on the show in and out. You know what I mean? Which if you take these fights, you're up later, higher up in the card, and it's big risk, but big risk, big reward. You know what I mean?
And even if you lose. If you lose a tight one,
of course,
people are going to go, Jess,
look,
I won't see that again.
Yeah, Pierre Carr back in another 50-50 fight as well with Tonga.
100%.
But look at the way the risk is O'Sullivan's after having 2 hard 50-50 fights, and both he's like he's coming up to one of the biggest names, one of the biggest prospects coming across. And what's the 5-0 on now? You know what I mean?
We'll move on to that one now. We'll skip through and we'll come back to them. We'll go on to because we're talking. We'll go on to Daniel and Dean. Like that to me, you know, obviously I have a hand in most of the fights in the card. Obviously, being the promoter and the manager of a lot of the fighters, but that fight to me steals the show.
Yeah,
I think Daniel in the last 2 fights really come out of his own. He's just become, and again, another guy that doesn't have a big following.
No,
like he does 40 tickets, 50 tickets, but he's up against, and we all know Dean Walsh. Like, how good has Dean Walsh been for years on the amateur scene? You know,
I remember Dean winning that tie final against Ray Moyle in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, like,
the stadium erupted. There was people on the chairs disputing the decision. And look, whatever way you view that, that's 10 years ago.
The year you won it?
Yeah.
That was the year.
No, that was a year or 2 after I was in it.
Yeah.
So that's 10 years ago. He was at the elite level, and he won another 4 or 5 titles. I mean,
100%.
2022, he won an elite title and 3 box cups. 1 in Portugal. I think he won 2 in Ireland. He came back after a couple of years off and just was. He laid it down and was like, I'm not here to take the piss. This is it, and come back. He's gone pro. We saw him fight in the Tree Arena last month against an opponent that outweighed him by 5 kilos. That Jamal Elo or Elo handled him with relative ease. Has shown no apprehension in fighting Daniel for an Irish title. What's he, 12 months? This will be 12 months of pro now, I think.
He made his debut in December last year in the Waterford card.
So it's not even 12 months of pro. He's laying it down. He's kind of showing the lads.
Well, the thing was, myself and Mick had discussed this fight previously. You know, we were looking at it. Daniel wanted to be on the card, but it's hard to get Daniel on the card when you can't do the tickets, and you have ticket sellers wanting to get on the card, and sadly that's my job, is to fill the arena, you know what I mean? And it was kind of a bit of a, he wanted it, he wasn't too sure, then he wasn't too sure, he wanted to put it together, the fight was made. But like for Daniel O'Sullivan this time last year, he hadn't won a title.
Some 12 months he's had. Like,
I actually never knew who he was.
He beat Sean Murray in his first fight. I'm not sure what card it was, towards the end of last year. But like at that stage, Daniel was just a novice pro, chipping along up. If he wins tomorrow night, which he definitely can win tomorrow night.
Yeah,
if he wins tomorrow night, he really becomes a household name in Ireland. He's won in 3 fights. He's won 3 titles.
Yeah, like
and
Daniel.
And against it's not bringing in a Spaniard or bringing in someone that you might get a push over. He's fought 3 and twice in the away corner.
I've never known who he was until he fought Peter Carr, and after I rate Peter Carr, and after seeing beating Peter Carr, I watched the fight beforehand, and all of a sudden I'm like, this young is good.
Yeah,
and he's very, very good. For someone who has no amateur background, none of that elite level amateur pro day or whatever you want to call it, he's coming along and he's flying and he's tough.
Oh, absolutely.
He's tough as nails. He has a great
he's
engine.
He's Steely, isn't he?
Having sat ringside doing commentary with Joe on his last 2 fights, 2 of us are looking at each other going, he doesn't do any of the elite stuff. He doesn't do any of the flashy stuff. He does all the basics.
Good, very
but
good.
He does them almost perfectly.
Yeah, very, very
now the
good.
question to ask is, though, we are talking, obviously, I know I agree with what you're saying, that, but does the basic work really well against a basic Sean Murray, i.e. he had no amateur career. He had no elite. Sean Murray had no amateur career, really.
No.
Peter Carr.
Peter Carr is good, man. I've seen Peter around the circuit, but
he, in my opinion, he's been slow into the boxing game.
Yeah,
I feel he just he
does
feels that when he gets into the ring. I just feel when Peter gets into the ring, it's kind of like the kickboxers. Damo Darker, if you remember, was always like a fantastic set of hands, an unbelievable kickboxer. But when they get in, it's that slow, just as you just said, plodding along, plodding away. They think the fight's a long duration. It's not fast. It's not sharp as I know. So you could see where Daniel was actually the faster hands, the quicker coming forward against Peter. Plan. Where Dean Walsh is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
like what's he going to be like tomorrow night? Like he's not here. I'm sure he's not going to sit with Daniel, stand with Daniel. He's going to.
Yeah, me and Declan spoke about this outside. Like Dean's fantastic, but he hasn't done a 10 rounder.
No. Hasn't he only done 1-8?
Don't get me wrong, I think like none of what Daniel does really well should work against someone with Dane's level of skill.
But it's the longevity.
It's the 10 rounds. Daniel could do 20. Daniel ran a 10k race in the Phoenix Park the day after fighting Peter Carr. Yeah. His 2 eyes were nearly closed. He lives the life, he loves the game. Dean just maybe slightly apprehensive in the back of his head in 2nd, 3rd, 4th round thinking, there's 5 left, there's
much
6
grit
left.
Is left in him.
What's left here?
Do you have,
Now, he could also totally outclass Daniel.
I think that's the question. Is it going to be what Daniel has said, first 3-4 rounds?
Yeah.
We know he's going to be behind, but he won't be able to hold the pace. Now, Daniel, to me, you can't question him. Like, you can't doubt him. Like, I can't call the fight, but I think it's going to be a really good fight. Because you know yourself as a fighter, you had probably the best set of feet and hands in the country. The way you could box off the back foot, and you were at your best when you're going backwards on the road. Boom, see you later. And Dean can do all that, but as a fighter, like you used to do, lad hit you a couple of digs. What did you want to do? You didn't want to go back to what you were good at. You wanted to stand and trade. So, could Dean stand and trade with him?
Yeah, and without being too cautious, is he going to get into a dick measuring competition with Daniel and say, well, you think you can do it, I can stand here and do it?
I think at some point it will happen. That's the only thing.
Because it happens. Everyone's a fight.
It does. It's
every boxer.
Your legs get tired and you go, I'm not moving anymore. Let's see what you have.
Daniel's not known to be a puncher.
No,
but he has the grit. It's like just keep at. He's the grit. He just wears you down, keeps going, keeps going.
The last 2 fights, his game plan was clear. He was targeting the body. From the word go, he was throwing them shots under the elbows, and they hurt Sean Murray. And Peter Carr was feeling them in the 4th or 5th round. As after the hand injury, you could see Peter was struggling to block them then, and you're going, they're hurting. I can feel them. I'm sitting ringside, and they're cracking.
It'll be the same tactics this time. I think he'll start the body, because the reason why is because he knows it takes the wind out of you, and in the longer rounds it does slow you down. And that's the best way he can beat Dean Walsh, is by slowing him down, because Dean's boxing IQ, there's no one can question it. It's going to be second to none towards him. You know what I mean? There's 2 different levels of boxing IQ, and the only way of beating him is to drag him into a bit of a tear-up. And at some stage you will. It just depends what engine Dean has, because we haven't seen him gone to these rounds. It's all new to him, so we don't know. It's the unknown of, does he have this? Can he do what he's in the 1st round to the last round? Who knows?
What's your take if you had to pick
tomorrow
night?
I'm gonna
Someone
go.
Says there's £100. Who are you putting it on?
D Walsh, because I have to go with the boxer.
Yeah, I'm going with Dan. I think it's.
But O'Sullivan has made me swallow my own words the last time. You know what I mean?
I think it's a 7-3, 6-4 kind of fight. But if Dan doesn't win, say 4 of the first 5, he's in trouble.
But if Sullivan wins this, he deserves Prospect of the Year or Fighter of the Year after
3 titles in 12 months.
trying to think of the date he won it against Sean Murray, but it was definitely the back end.
It
wasn't May
October last year.
Because Tony was May
yeah.
and
it was October, April, October again.
Matthew and Senan was
that was
November, wasn't it?
October, November. So yeah, it's around 11, 12 months.
Yeah.
But both of them need to take the hats off for taking it. Well, both of them so early, like big fight so early in the career. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's 154, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Dean is adamant he can do 147. I was chatting to him today even, and he said he feels he could do 147.
The problem is, well, we have a limited pool here in the country. You know, you're kind of going.
Yeah.
You almost have to fight for the title at the weight that has a couple of lads.
Yeah,
Like ideally, you'd love to see, like, just off the back of that, I'd like to see Eddie Donovan and Dean Walter.
Well, that's Ed is going back to go back to 154.
Yeah.
So ideally, the winner of this fight will fight the winner of that fight.
Yeah.
If in around, it could be a catch weight or it could be.
Yeah,
and then that is the fight that's
the loser fighting the loser too.
Yeah, even not moving on necessarily, but another fight on the card like Peter Carr.
Well, we might as well move on.
Them two lads are going to be looking at the Dane and Daniel fight. They're going to be going.
Well, they are. Peter Carr was saying he wants that rematch.
Who's the winner here? Like
Peter wants that rematch.
It's really like a game of snakes and ladders.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. It really is a one up, one down, and you're looking who's above you, and the one who's underneath you is looking who's above them.
And you have Richie O'Leary who beat Sean Murray in the last fight, and he was scheduled to be on this in the Celtic title fight with John Boyd. John Boyd's missus booked in Orlando for 3 weeks in the middle of the camp, and it messed up his camp, so he couldn't do it. But that fight was made for this card, a 154 Celtic title.
Yeah.
So that's another one in the mix.
Another one on the card today when we're talking about 147. Like, with Tony McGlynn, is he going to float around there? Is he going to do 140?
140. He done 140. He done 142 today, comfortable.
147 is too small for that.
Yeah. He actually.
But he's still young.
He actually
he's not old.
He's not aging now.
He did say previously when I trained him that he could do 135. Peter and Sean Murray. Did you watch the FightTalk on that one? The two lads. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
It was quite funny, wasn't it? That was the first time we put them together. We've had them together twice since then, and they've actually been a little bit
more amicable. Yeah. I mean, Peter, I knew him a little bit when I was in Crumlin. Deco would know him a bit better. He's an aggressive kind of guy. Everything he does, isn't it? No, everything he does is intense.
Yeah, he's an intense bloke.
Yeah, very.
Like, you just don't know where to sit with him. I'm alright when we know he's respectful. Believe it or not, he's very respectful, but he's very intense. And as you said, he comes across aggressive when you're like, this cunt even like me or not, you know what I mean?
His guard is up all the time.
But the thing about Peter is, like, even sparring, everything's a war. Yeah. That's the thing, like, everything's a war. And you have to realise, the last long in this boxing game, everything can't be a war. You know what I mean? You have to pick your spot. You know, you have to train hard, and you have to pull back. Peter likes war and he likes confrontation, and Peter is fucking the Tasmanian devil, isn't he? He's just bonkers.
He's done like kickboxing, Muay Thai. He does everything.
But I seen there recently, even though he's a pro boxer and a pro fighter, he had a kickboxing fight lined up there for a while ago. Yeah, I had to say to him, you know, you can't do kickboxing with a pro fighter. I didn't know that, but I just wanted another fight.
And he loves it and he lives it. But yeah, that great point from Deco there. Like, you have to tread the line carefully in this sport. Like, you can't be going to war. We see Frampton spoke about him when his career ended, about sparring hundreds of rounds when he was with the McGuigans, and how that changed when he changed training. And they were like, no, you spar certain number of rounds in a certain style. You're actually working on things. You're not just getting in there to build more. You're not just banking rounds for the sake of banking rounds. He's in a good fight here. He's in a fight that I think isn't going to be a boxing match for any more than about 10 seconds. I mean, I think you may as well put it in a phone box out on the South Circular Road. It's going to look like that.
I think I see a stoppage with this one. I think
people are saying that. Oh, do you know what though? Like, I'm on the fence completely on this, and I have to be, because I can obviously manage both the fighters. I've had the both of them from day one, so I can't pick a winner. And I genuinely can't pick a winner. But I actually think people are overlooking Sean Murray on this one. I think, I'm not saying he's going to win, but I just think people are overlooking him just because of his losses as such. And like, I love both lads. I think the two of them are comical. The beef that they have is because of me. Because Sean,
that's your job.
Well, yeah, it is my job. But like, you know, I think Peter texted me something Sean texted me something, and I said, well, that's when he said the total. Yes, sir. Peter said he was going to knock Sean out, or knock him out, or something like that on Sunday at the gloves are off thing. I'll knock him out, I will. And I said, oh, that's funny or something. He goes, I Sean boxing or something. And I said, well, he thinks you should go back to kickboxing. And Peter said, did he say that? And I said, yeah, he said that. And he goes, he didn't say it. He said, he did say it. He says, but he's not going to be afraid to say it. He'll say it to your face. He wouldn't say it to your face, I'll kill him. So he screenshotted the conversation. And he says, this is now my screensaver till the day of the fight. And then he went into the room and he took it totally to him. You were talking about me. Yeah. And he got the three of us sitting there. Oh, I'm not going to throw that person under a bus or say who it was. And I'm sitting there just going.
Shani Murray's balls can't be doubted at all.
He's changed coach. He's moved coach because he just felt that he.
Who's he training with now?
Someone back home. I don't know if it was his amateur coach or whatever like that.
Is he he trains with Chris Blaine, and Chris Blaine's dad.
Yeah, but he was training under P.
Yeah, so
and then but his last camp he was kind of back and forth to Holland and things like that, and because he's a carpenter, so he couldn't get over the P the way as much as he should have, and he was missing this, and then he was kind of going here to do a bit of this, going here to but this is his first time actually with this fella doing a full camp. But he was even saying to me, he says, my spar and everything has been totally different. He says, I'm actually not one bit inferior to this lad.
I think that's a vital part of it as well. Like Pierre, I believe, runs his own gym.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
He doesn't work outside of training, do you know what I mean?
Well, I spoke to Phil on Peter, and Phil isn't happy with Peter because he said he hasn't done any boxing training.
See, what happened with Peter...
He's only been up the club once or twice. He says, I'm not happy with him.
Even when I was down with Peter, the thing with Peter, he's running his own gym, so he's very hands-on. Yeah. And listen, it's hard work running your own gym, so it's like... When he's coming down to train, he's bringing the people down the club to train with him. And you're kind of training and you're still looking to see what's going on.
No, absolutely.
So it's very difficult in that sense. With Sean, I think he's gone back to the Blaney's, and what I can say to them, Sean is a very tough man. And listen, he's trained underneath Navan Boxing Club. He uses Navan Boxing Club, and it's a great club with Chris Blaney and his father. So he's a tough man. I just think Peter is just gonna be too strong.
So Peter, do you think Peter has to knock him out?
I think Peter does knock him out. The reason only
do you think he could beat him in a boxing match though?
No, I don't know really, but Sean is very. The way I'm saying this is Sean's very stands up very up straight.
Yeah.
And he walks off the jam, and you can't. With a punch, you can't be up too up straight because that's where you're gonna get caught with an overhand over the top.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Pierre loops those punches.
And Sean is just
corners,
too up straight, where there's no flow movement and the head's in the line. That's the thing. And he's a tough man. I think that's what's gonna do him. He's gonna be too tough for his own good.
Yeah. Like even that cracking fight he had with Shane Mean, like, and what was that 4 or 5 knockdowns?
He was down twice and Shane was down twice.
Like, but I mean, no disrespect to Shane. Shane will practically no amateur background, came straight forward. If he's tagging you and putting you down, I'd be half worried. Like, Pierre Carr doesn't know how to throw, say, a 50% punch.
Yeah,
he just doesn't. It's everything. Yeah. And he'll take your head off with everything. There's maximum violence. You know, to rob that from Dillian White. That's what Pierre's throwing in every punch. Because he doesn't want to do overtime. Pierre'd love to get in and be over in 20 seconds gone. And he'd probably go to the gym. He'd go finish the session then.
Saying that Sean did better than Peter did with Daniel.
Yeah.
That is the only thing now.
That's a lot of people are saying. A lot of people look. I didn't even see the fight. I was in the backstage. I was actually talking to you at the time when the fight kind of got stopped, if you remember. Yeah. A lot of people said Peter quit in the fight. Peter said he didn't like the body shots and that the hand wasn't broken. There was a few people that threw comments that he was putting the belt on Daniel afterwards, and if his hand was broken, he wouldn't have been doing the belt. And
the guy
Sean Murray has openly said to him, you know, you quit in that fight. You know, you got stopped. I didn't get stopped.
I think I said to yourself, just as the lads were getting in the ring that time, that I thought Daniel was gonna have too much. The body shots, people can deny it. The body shots were having a towel. I could see it. Like I was 2 feet away. I could see it in Peter's eyes. Peter had a phenomenal first 2 rounds. Then he hit Daniel with a couple of shots in the 3rd round.
Calling that sweet left hook.
I could see Peter thinking, these shots should have hurt you. These should have slowed you down.
Break shot
he definitely did hurt his hand. You could see that. That was clear as day. I'm not going to say he gave up, but something like that certainly makes it easier for you to get out. You know what I mean? He cleared, the hand was gone. Is there any value in fighting on? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. A lot of fighters wouldn't have gave up no matter what.
He won an elite title boxing 3 rounds with one hand.
Yeah, like there's fighters who wouldn't. There's fighters who go, well, I need to keep this.
That's the Like
There's an argument
what happens
there,
tomorrow now? Peter goes out and the first shot breaks that hand again. Is he just gonna? Is Sean have that easy night's work? That's the.
Yeah, that's the intrigue.
That's where the foil that comes into your brain, your thoughts.
If I didn't know Pierre, I would agree with. I'd be saying quit and.
I don't think he quit now myself.
No, but I would not even say quit. I'd be thinking if his hand broke again, would he quit? I'd say yeah. But the only reason because I've seen Pierre trying, and I know how much of a tough man he is. That's why I don't think if he was to break the hand, he did quit. I do know what you were saying is. Did he get the wing get knocked out when the hand broke and he knew that he wasn't and he knew he wasn't hurting. Like I've seen Peter knock people out and he's not this Daniel O'Sullivan standing in front of him and taking these shots where he usually knocks people out, and is that the kicking the wind out of his balls? Maybe so. That's probably why he was questioning himself is like, alright, am I packing in here or not? The only reason I'm gonna stick with my decision is because I've trained with Peter and just see what he does.
Yeah, and I don't think Pierre Carr strikes me as the type that he can lose a fight, he could lose 5 fights and he just resets the next day and it's gone. But that fight's over.
Sean Murray's the same way now.
We've seen that with Sean doesn't care. The only thing here, right, I think Peter wins, but Sean Murray really can't afford to get knocked out tomorrow.
No.
If he gets chin tomorrow,
if it's a close,
I'd be leaning on saying, look, pack it in.
If it's a nip and tuck fight, you'd say okay. Yeah. But if he was to get stopped early,
pack it in.
Or if it's a bloodbath.
He's 21 years of age.
How old?
21.
He's only a baby.
He's not stopping.
Yeah.
Like he even said it yesterday. Like he's 10 years left.
See these two here. These two are what I'd say out of everyone I know at the moment are probably the two craziest blokes I've met.
Yeah.
And that's mad. I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Absolute madness.
And with probably the biggest set of balls, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like they don't really give a fuck who's in a pound. They're willing to take fights after fights after fights, which is too tough for their own good as well. It can be.
Definitely. The loser of this, whoever it may be, out of the two lads, if you ring them on Saturday morning, offering them a fight with someone else on the card, there's only going to be one answer.
Oh, they're taking
it's going to be brother. When's this? Give me a week or two. Like.
Sean's only 21 years of age. I didn't know he was that
young.
Yeah,
but that plays a part, doesn't he? Your recovery is great and all at that age. We're in our 30s now. Them shots you're looking going, there's not too many of them you want to be taking. They come back, like, you still think of shots you took as an amateur. You can remember punches from years ago and you're going, I wonder what that's done to me long term. Do you know what I mean? I still get little headaches from this, or I still have a little pain in my side from that. And you blame it on the punch that you can remember. You don't want to be like 25 seems like a lifetime away for a 21-year-old.
100%.
And you don't want to be crippled going, Jesus. Like, there's not much value in taking shots.
There's only so much damage you really need to be taking. If you're not winning, you're taking damage.
Like
it's okay taking damage when you're winning.
There's only so much trauma, big time.
I mean, my argument there, say he was to have a loss tomorrow, take more damage, I'd be looking at going back amateur at 21. I'd be looking at just enjoying the sport a little bit more. Like, and we've seen a good few fighters around the world have gone back amateur when they realised they were maybe a little bit too young.
Because the sad thing about the pro game is you have to be able to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And you can't sell tickets. It's like I explained to everybody before they want to go pro or they come. We get so many messages. We get messages every week from people wanting to sign over. First thing I say to them is, do you understand pro boxing? Do you understand the business side of boxing? Oh, yeah. Okay. Tell me how many tickets you need to sell for a show. And they come back. Most of them come back. I'd be able to sell 30, 40 tickets.
Sound.
Stay amateur, but
that'll cover your opponent.
You know, if you get a cheap opponent these days,
you need to be doing 70 to 100 tickets.
It's got to the stage because what's happened is they're all happy getting paid in the UK now. When you go to the UK now, 4-round journeyman is 15 to 1700 sterling.
Oh yeah, great.
You change that over to euros, it's 18 to 2,000 euros. And back when I was making my debut and fighting 4 rounds in Dublin, it was €1,000 for your 4-round opponent.
That's outrageous.
You know what I mean? Like the money has doubled in 8 years.
Like we've seen me and you now both know Jordan Granham kind of well. Jordan runs it as a business.
And him and Dale and
Jordan had a fight last week in Scotland that he got last minute. He lives down in London. The fight weigh-in was at 10 a.m. and you had to be there from London to Scotland. I think it was Scotland. It could have been Manchester.
4 hours.
4.5 hour drive. He was up at 5:30 in the morning to get in that car to drive those 4.5 hours.
Same
to
day
get on that scales, and you're thinking, how much money is he getting for that last minute phone call?
100%.
To go up there beyond the weight, like lads go that way as well. And look,
you can only go that way though. You can't go that way with what you've just said, the Sean Murray Peter mentality.
You can't take those
there's no such thing as tucking up, taking shots, playing the game and getting beaten and going home with a scratch. You say to Sean, we're going on the road, you go over since over to the UK, lad clatters him a jab. He's trying to take his head off.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's getting chinned, and that's we've seen what's happened to people recently, getting knocked out,
So we leaning there that is it unanimous on
both is on Peter, aren't
Has
it?
to be PR,
Yeah, I'm going with Peter Carr there.
He'd be happy to hear that, otherwise he'd probably be at your door.
Definitely with him starting with
Definitely be outside your house.
I agree with Declan as well. I don't see it going the distance. I really don't.
Can Sean Murray stop Peter?
I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, is it going to be in Peter's head about the last fight? Look, I said I don't think it will. I think he's a robot.
Yeah, I think he's
that's
a switch,
gone.
yeah.
That's gone now. This is the next fight. And he looked quite tough because he took some big shots in that last round against Daniel when his hand wasn't up to scratch.
Sean would be holding on to that in his head. He'd Peter quit.
Yeah.
And if I didn't know Peter, I would probably say the same thing. He probably did quit, but that's what Sean be holding on to, you know what I mean? So he'll be trying to break Peter's spirit. But the only thing is I'm going to say is Sean's been dropped a few times now. Peter bangs, you know what I mean? So that's the only reason I can't see this going the distance either.
Hoping we don't see a repeat of the O'Sullivan fight where Sean's gum shield fell out 6 times, 7 times.
He's got a new one, I believe.
That was that in itself made that fight harder for him. He couldn't concentrate. You're confused. He wouldn't have beat Daniel O'Sullivan, I don't think, but might have been a different fight if he didn't have to deal with the gum shield constantly falling out. And it's just an issue that you don't need in a fight.
The other side of that is he could have been stopped though.
Yeah, he could have
He
been.
was in trouble a lot of times. The gum shield fell out.
Yeah,
It can be a
you
smart
got to
move as
breathe.
well. It can be a very
I
smart
don't. To
move.
be honest with you, I don't think he was.
No.
I think it was that often. It wasn't on purpose because he
it
was
didn't
trying to get it
fit,
in. It was falling back out and things like that. So, but I know he has a new one at this stage now. So we're both going Peter on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Peter on that one.
Move on to Cottle Crowley, Kevin Cronin, Irish title light heavyweight. What's the thoughts on this one? This is another one that I can't.
This one is a cracker. Declan made a great point outside. Cottle Crowley hasn't faced defeat, and there's an aura about you, isn't there?
Yeah, there's an
There's
aura.
I've noticed something about him. Every fight he goes to, he has a T-shirt. Like today is one. He's 7-0 at the minute, I believe.
Yeah, and he
But,
updates
His
the
T-shirt, his
Doing
T-shirt
the
for his
mail,
team at the minute. He's 8-0. I only copped it at the last time he fought one of the cards. He had
so
the T-shirt.
he's already updated.
He's already done it.
Yeah, so
He's
but
already
this,
updated.
He's speaking and he's believing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I know,
That's
and it's not on the breast. It's that size on the back.
That's the aura about
the,
him.
he's making himself accountable there. Like it's quite embarrassing now. Somebody has a picture that you turn into a meme. You know, they'll put the picture of you with that T-shirt, and then they'll put your box rack above it that says 7-1, and you're walking around with an 8-0 T-shirt. So it's pressure, and maybe he likes that. He goes, well, this is going to make me do whatever it takes to not lose.
I think he's confident though because he's been calling Emmett Brennan consistently.
Everyone.
He is constantly.
He's on the feed. You have to be confident. There's an aura about you when you're on the feed. You know what I mean? You don't feel like anyone can beat you.
And we've seen it with not specifically Crowley, but we've seen it with some fighters who just start to believe that they're substantially better than they are. When some of us will be sitting ringside going, that was a decent win, mate, but
you're not as big
calm
as
down.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not winning more titles here now. You're below Irish title level at the moment, so maybe just relax it.
He boxed Kemsky.
Yeah, Edgar the nutcase.
He didn't stop Kemsky though. And Kemsky fought at welterweight the week before on air show.
He did. Now,
stepped up 4 weights.
On that one, you'd wonder was there maybe
Kemsky
last minute, was there maybe an agreement that he'll jump in, but you're not allowed to stop him here. Kemsky may have had a couple of fights lined up. You know how that goes with journeyman. Look, you get your rounds. I personally would have to try take Kemsky's head off because he's a lunatic and he's the most irritating journeyman I've ever seen. He's bending down, he's laughing at you, he's doing this with the hands out. Like,
what I'll say about that is, you make an agreement to do a few rounds. When you get a chance to stop someone,
you
stop
them,
there's a few people. A lot of people are saying he can knock Cronin out, and I'm going. Cronin has a very good way of blocking punches with his forehead and never looking hurt.
What I would say to Cronin,
kind of way, like Cronin would remind me of myself where the head movement was never really there. It was you wanted to get in and throw punches, and he does. He comes in and take the shot to give a shot, and as I was brought up the Kemsey thing because Kemsey was a natural welterweight. And he couldn't get rid of the welterweight or the thing. Now again, there could have been a deal in place, but then you've got Cronin who has boxed. He's fought for this title before.
He's a big lad.
Against Jamie Morrissey. You know, he's boxed Brennan twice.
Yeah,
they're bigger punchers and I'm sure they're hitting a lot harder than the likes of Kemsky as well. So
I'll go out and say I thought he was robbed against Jamie Morrissey. And
that fight I thought was, I had him up by I think a round only though. I thought the Brennan first fight was.
Thought he was hard pressed there. I even thought he was hard pressed in the loss to Jamie Morrissey. The cards was playing out. It's what you like. I get it. The first fight with Brennan, similar as well. You're kind of going. His record probably isn't a reflection of what he is. He's only been beaten in serious domestic fights where he held his own. It wasn't like he went out and got chained.
If he got the decision in the Galway fight, it was a definite win. Like you couldn't have doubted it. Like, but I also think the first Brennan fight, he definitely won. I think everyone in the country thought that.
Yeah, and it's one of them.
And that's Emma is an Olympian, and like Emma is the elite level boxer, like, you know.
Exactly, and we saw Emma's skill level when they rematched this year in Madison Square Garden. Emma had a read on him, and then
he won the fight.
A handy enough win.
First couple of rounds were a bit. You know, he was able to, but Emma was sussing him out, I believe.
But then you're looking at it going, at that level, you've been in, you arguably be Emma Brandon, an Olympian. You've been in with Jamie Morrissey, who, Muay Thai, kickboxing, fought in multiple sports as a monster.
He's a big man.
Arguably be him in one of the fights. This is your third title fight. Third or fourth time, lucky now. Record, you'd look at it and go, Crowley will probably win here, but looking at the actual fighters and having seen them fight, you're going, I think Cronin has it all to lose. I think he's probably a strong favourite in this fight. For me, he's a big lad. He's got the experience. He's fought in the 3 Arena. He's fought in Madison Square Garden. So the event isn't going to get to him. But then Declan made that great point. He doesn't have that aura anymore.
Yeah, I was saying he's 3 losses and 1 draw. Only against 2 lads. It knocks the wind out of you after picking up 3 losses either way and the draw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cottle is undefeated. He has the aura about him, and the self-belief is going to be second to none.
Well, I will say on self-belief, there's no one in Ireland that has more self-belief than Kevin Cronin.
But after watching the two of them, I think Cottle stands up too straight, and he plods forward. His feet work ain't great. He plods forward. He's a strong, aggressive, come forward fighter. It's not really, doesn't throw many hooks. It's more straight punches, and he's a very good jab. But I just think Cronin has that extra bit of boxing IQ is better, I believe.
Yeah,
he can move his way. He is better boxer IQ. He knows how to move the body better. He takes a great shot.
Yeah,
we don't know if Cottle takes a big shot yet because we haven't seen him again. He hasn't been up against. This is first 50-50 fight. This is first big step up, and we don't know does he have in the locker? But saying that every time Kevin stepped up, he's lost in them 50-50 fights.
Yeah.
But as you said, you believe that he should have beaten the 2 boys when he lost twice. You know what I mean? So you just don't know. I'm gonna go after watching the 2 of them. I'm gonna go with Kevin. I think he's a lot better boxer. But like I said, I haven't seen Cottle.
Yeah.
Maybe rise up to that standard. Who knows? You can only tell him that night. This is gonna be a force.
Just going off the common opponent in Grant Dennis. Don't get me wrong. Grant Dennis was a middleweight.
Light middleweight, 154
does
Keevan,
it against Keevan in the training. He does his job. He's a journeyman now. That's what he does. They've both fought him in the last 12 months. I think Cottle fought him on the show in April on your undercard. He fought him there. Looked good. Probably could have put it on him a little bit more. You know, he was on a good platform. He was in control throughout the whole thing. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Cronin handled him quite easily as well, and maybe it's recency, boys. You know what I mean? Because I had to watch the Cronin and Dennis fight back during the week. It looked like he had Dennis hurt a little bit more, and he had him guessing a little bit more. Again, though, great point in Declan in that he's coming up against an undefeated guy who's probably going to go in there with if he has a crowd up from Cork thinking, I will walk through walls in here tonight.
He comes across that way now, to be fair.
No, there's a level to it.
No messing. Kevin is very confident in himself and his ability, and you have to be. But he's happy. He's even today he come in. Everything's happy. Cottle just a steal. You say about Peter. I think Cottle has a bit of that in him. Yeah.
And Cottle has been calling for fights with Irish lads.
He's just on Twitter and
Instagram, and you're kind of going, I'm sick of seeing this fella's call outs, but he's chasing the lads in Like, he made it clear to a good few of the lads, I'll fight whoever.
It's not just all talk, he's trying to do it.
No, and he did. When he comes in, like even at the weigh-in area, he's straight and there's no messing with him.
Tension.
He's just really angry. It looks to me like he's angry all the time.
If I didn't, if I didn't see bout boxing, I'd have to go with Cottle. It points everything to Cottle to win.
Yeah.
On paper.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it intriguing. And then you have like Cronin. Obviously, Dana White knows who he is now, so he's looking at this going, right, I lost on that show in Madison Square Garden. If we can win this Irish title,
it's a kickback to get me going again.
And we see that Dana White is launching this Zuffa boxing thing with Turkey Al Sheikh. And he's going, well, he already knows who I am. Maybe he'll give me a chance.
He's making his manager as well.
The lads are bringing crowds up from Kerry and Cork. I'm sure there's plenty of people staying in hotels, but anyone driving home or getting a bus home tomorrow, that's a long way if you've lost. Yeah. That's a serious trip. You're on a 3 or 4 hour trip home.
It's the only good thing about being a double, you know.
Yeah, you know. So neither of them are going to want.
You'll be losing a few tickets. Ticket buyers.
Yeah, no, I think Kevin Cronin is going to come good tomorrow. No disrespect to Colin Crowley, he's a guy who's definitely going to come back. He could completely blow me out of the water and make me look ridiculous tomorrow.
We don't know what he has, because we haven't seen him.
We haven't seen him
he's
at
done
that
what
level.
he's needed to do, and that's all he's done. Like he hasn't been in the deep water. We don't know if he can go there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like any fighter who you're going, it's his first world title fight. Maybe he shouldn't even. He's getting a mandatory opportunity here. You know what I mean? He was took on as a handy defence. Next thing you know, everyone's talking about him. Yeah. We've seen him with Josh Padley, who fights this weekend. Came in and fought Shakur Stevenson on what? 2 days notice, and then all of a sudden everyone was going, geez, that fella's not bad, is he?
Yeah. And he got a deal over in the way he went. Yeah.
So you're looking at it going, Cottle could come in here tomorrow and blitz Kevin Cronin over, and if he did that,
he'd be another
he lays down the mark,
wouldn't he? Really? In theory, like.
Well, I mean, Emma Brennan has to fight him then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. Like,
you know, you're kind of going, remember, you couldn't fight me, you couldn't do. You have to.
Another thing about it, though. Another talk about it, you've got Cronin and you've got Crowley, and you've got the circle there that keeps, the triangle there that keeps bringing Brennan into it.
Yeah.
Never to mention Tommy Hyde.
No.
It's true.
No, and that's a fantastic young fighter right
Tommy
there.
Hyde
Keeps busy, has
constantly winning, constantly picking up wins, and no one ever brings him in. I think it's probably because no one wants to fight him. Yeah. But I'm sure when this started out, he is obviously super middleweight. They've had to go up to light heavy for this, and there was
but I think the lads are flexible on
they're
the weight.
They're super middleweights. They're not light heavies. This is just they had to do this.
Like what we said, it's almost where's the bit of depth in the country, right? We have to go up here to fight for the title, like.
There's only so much around there is.
Yeah, there's not too many,
and there's only so much you will take the fights as well.
Yeah, it's all well and good. We have seen lads over the years who've done what Cottle did, call them for fights, but had no intention of ever. Whereas I think if you just said, here, Cottle, sign that piece of paper, he wouldn't even read the name. Yeah. Just go, Irish fight, yeah, sound, there you go. That's a very intriguing one tomorrow.
So how would you see it going?
I think Cronin's going to win on points. I don't think Cottle Crowley gets stopped.
I don't think it's a stoppage at all. I think it's going to be. I actually think it's going to be a war. I actually think it's going to be a great stand toe-to-toe war because of Cottle keep coming forward, and Kevin at times will come forward as well with box. But I think it's going to be a great fight. But I'm going to go with Kevin points as well. I just don't see no one stopping each other.
Yeah, no, I don't, and I think there's a bit more pressure on Kevin now and going. This is. I think
he loses here, where does he go from here?
Yeah, I think it's I think this is the fourth title fight. Because I think it was Celtic title against Morrissey, Irish title. Then it was Celtic against Emmett the first time. So this is the fourth title fight. If you haven't been successful in 4, very hard to argue.
Well, where else? The question is, where does he go? Because Brendan's not going to fight him again because he's passed and he's done it twice. Cottle will have beaten him for the Irish and going, well, why would I fight you again? Yeah. And he's not going to go fight Tommy Hyde because, to be fair...
Yeah, well, unless Tommy has a Madison Square Garden fight in March next year.
I'll say with Kevin is how much does he have left? Even though I think he can win, he's a better boxer, does he have the ambition to go to the well every time? There's only so many times you can go to the well, and does he have it to go to the well? Because Cottle will go to the well because he has that aura about him still where he's undefeated.
I'm not sure Kevin's age. Cottle's 24, I think.
Cottle's only young, I'm not sure.
24, 25. He's only young. Now, don't get me wrong, Kevin could be just as young, he's just been around a good bit longer. That happens with some fighters.
Cottle's all in on the boxing though.
Yeah.
Kevin's a fireman.
Yeah, that's a
You know,
tough,
he's a tough gig.
tough physical job. Like,
you know, when you're falling short, and look, he shouldn't have fell short in a couple of the fights, we know that, but to keep falling short,
yeah,
it does become a time where you go, you know, I have a career here behind me.
Yeah, you
know,
think it's not going to happen.
And the style he fights, the fights are tough fights. He's coming out of fights badly marked, whether it's cuts, the face is constantly banjoed up, and there's only so much of that you can do, especially when you're looking at a line going, right, well, where do I go next? Like, what's me passage here?
That's
so I feel Kevin has to win tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a must win.
I think for him it's a must win. For Cottle, I think if he was to lose, it doesn't really matter because he is so early in his career. He's 7-0. He'd go to 7-1. A couple of wins, he's back in the mix. To be fair,
I completely forgot about young Tommy Hoyt. If Cottle was to win tomorrow, be the Irish champion, and you've two lads from Cork, we've already seen Tommy Hoyt's father, Gary, promote big shows over the years. Neptune Arena Stadium, is it down in Cork? The lads could probably sell that out with just that fight. They could do a fight anywhere up in Dublin.
Big fight.
That'd be a big one. Now, don't get me wrong, boxing belongs in Dublin, so we should do it.
Well, we look at where we're back. We've the stadium next year. First week in April, we're in the stadium. So this card is already the makings of that card.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Tommy knows there was Tommy had a slight issue, but it's all like boxed off.
Fighters are aware of that, though. Do you know what I mean? The fighters know. Yeah, you're fighting for tomorrow night and the glory and the social media and whatever that is, but you're fighting for your next fight.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you go out and stink the place out tomorrow. The 50 or 60 tickets you bought, you're not going to do that next time because they're not going to want to see it.
That's what's good with Jay with his promotion at the moment. He's given the opportunities to have on another TV slot. 50-50 fight, so you understand, you listen, you put on, you go all out there and give it 100% and don't give a boring fight. There's going to be another opportunity for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, we know your debut, your first 1-2 fights, they're gimmies. Yeah. That's the way it is. But after that now,
start stepping up. But that's I think what's good coming now. Like even when I went pro, it wasn't really like that. There wasn't much of a crop. There was only a handful of us went pro at that time, and them handful. Few. But the ones who went pro were only the ones who were at that elite level. They were the good training at the back. You know, I mean, it wasn't like they were just some people are turning over with no experience. We all had experience turning over, but now there's more depth because there's so many turnovers. Some who don't have experience, like Daniel Sullivan, who wasn't, but he's had to turn out to be a great fighter now. Yeah. And that's the opportunities come with so many turnover now. There's going to be more opportunities to fight each other, which is good now.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth in it now. There's, without naming names, there's lads who shouldn't be professional fighters, who just had no amateur background.
But the thing with, you know, with something with that, I'd say we're probably thinking of the same kind of people when you're saying that. There's people that, but you need something, you need them.
Definitely. That's what I'm saying. That's what's good about them.
They're not actually, like, we've got fighters in this country that will never be a world champion. No. Might never get near an Irish title.
But that's why it's so good having the domestic now.
We need them.
Yeah, because that's what's so good about it.
It's building the domestic scene.
And we need the confidence that they have.
Someone's 3-0, another one's 3-0, and both of them are only at the same level fighting each other, and then one steps up, one drops back down, and that's what's so great about it.
Like, I was only looking through this card, and I was looking back through cards I've attended over the years, and that's what we're in 2025 now. 2019 was the last card in the stadium, Clash of the Titans, where there was 3 or 4 domestic fights. Like, that's insane. That was 6 years ago. Now the market's changed.
I do believe this is the biggest domestic card we've had.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
getting lads fighting each other. Like,
I think there's a better card than the one I headlined last one, definitely.
This one?
Yeah, I think
I think the matches on this one.
But what I do think is I feel it's brewing nicely that you can start seeing the blueprint, and so many of them can start, and that's what's good about it.
The thing is, and we set out, as you know, from start to build and build and build. We're now consistent shows with Irish titles. Yeah. We do plan for April to up the gears and bring in the WBA or the IBF and go for I want to get one of the lads in, at least one of them, into a WBA or an IBF European title fight. I just think that becomes big then, because you're going to have your Celtic title undercard, you're going to have your Irish title undercard, but to have one of the lads, whoever that may be, I have my plans on who potentially could be there to do it, and I just feel a WBA or an IBF European title headlining in the stadium in a domestic fight is massive. 2 Irish lads fighting for a European title.
Definitely.
That's massive. Like we saw the historic moment, obviously, of Paddy and Lewis up in Windsor. 2 Irish lads fighting for the world title.
British card, Britain BBOC card. We haven't had it in.
But if
Ireland.
we actually you're laying the groundwork for the potential of that actually happening. Do you know what I mean?
Good about
The lads, no disrespect to Paddy or Lewis, two phenomenal fighters. They kind of fell into that position. It just happened at the right time. They hadn't really been on course to fight each other. And then it just went, oh, geez, the IBF have ranked the lads beside each other. Let's get it on. Yeah. But if you start building lads fighting for WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, international titles, European titles,
exactly,
and they're messing around. We've gone here, lads going up and down a weight or two. If one lad wins an international title at 168 and this lad at 175, fighting Irish champion, you're going, you know, if you drop down one weight class there, you could fight for that ranking belt, and then they're going, yep, no bother, I'll drop down.
The good thing about it is that it's consistently shows, and that's, as a fighter, that's what you need. And there's knowing that after this, like if I was fighting tomorrow night and I knew there's another show now in 2 months' time, I'm gonna be staying in camp. Well, you know what I mean? When you have dates set, it makes life a lot easier. And then you also have people around the same way. As we said, there's some people who shouldn't be pros, but they're not that stature. But there's opportunities to fight with the lads out there. Yeah. And see, getting fighting. As a fighter, fighting a journeyman or bringing someone abroad in and selling tickets for it, it's a kick in the balls it is. It's like, you need a bit of banter, a bit of back forward. It makes it easier to sell tickets. You're fighting someone from bloody Nigeria, you know what I mean? There's nothing to it, you know what I mean? But you have someone fighting from, I don't know, Kerry, fucking Cork, whatever it is, fighting, and you're from Dublin, you're fighting each other. It's just so much better. And even the build up to it, the whole build up to it is a whole lot better. It is, you know.
You could even see with Jordan Sennon's fight, we even a little couple of promo clips we done and put out. Jeez, it blew up like, and there was nothing in them. They only took minutes to make, kind of thing. The spoiler of that, and then all of a sudden it blew up, and you could see the numbers on social media because I keep an eye on them, and you can see what's working and what's not working, and you do. Domestics. This country will never have good boxing.
But this is where the ground roots is, and this is where you're building. This is the right way to build it. You know what I mean? And this, even when I was with MTK, it wasn't built like that because it was straight into. We had an undercard. There wasn't many domestic fighters. There was only like a handful of one or two. Like I remember Jamie Kavanagh was fighting for the Clash of Clans when he was fighting. He was fighting an English fella. You know what I mean? I think it was at the time. It wasn't a headline of domestic, many headline domestic fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was fights there that could have been made. Yeah. Like obviously,
didn't get the brewer too long. Didn't get too long before I had to stop. But Jay's plodding away now and started off nicely, and it just keep going up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there was a couple of fights that didn't come through on a lot of those MTK cards. I remember Phil Sutcliffe Jr. was meant to fight Tyrone
and never fell through.
Injuries fell through. There was 4 or 5 domestics on that card. But we've seen boxing in Ireland, in Dublin specifically, it's been cyclical over the last decade or so. You've just seen a lot of Declan in your career, 2 fights a year, 2 shows a year, 1 show here, 1 show there. You can't build up any kind of level. Like I was looking, just another fighter on the card tomorrow, Spike O'Sullivan, in potentially his last fight. Spike turned pro in 2008, January 08, fought for the Irish title in December 09, and he had 10 fights in between. 10 fights in 18 months. That's activity.
But we've done 10 cards in 23 months.
Yeah. So. I mean, and he had the benefit of the Collins clan. He fought in the States and he fought in the UK. But that was a pro. 10 fights, racking them up. You've lads now have got 3-4 fights in the 12 months. I mean, Daniel O'Sullivan's had 3 title fights in 12 months.
Matthew Tindall had 9 fights in 12 months.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
He had 7 fights in 6 months. And then all of a sudden, Buffer just comes to a stop then, you know what I mean?
So, and that's all destroying for the lads. Look, you've just touched on it there, like, you're not in camp constantly, but you're in shape, you're living the life constantly.
You know, you have the hard couple of weeks. You have that aim, you know that you can see the target.
Whereas if you have the calendar on the wall there behind you and there's nothing circled on it, you're going...
Yeah, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're ticking over, nothing major.
I'll go do your 10k run. Why?
For what?
For what?
Yeah.
Get up at 6. No.
Yeah.
I was sparring tonight.
But that's the reason why me and you got so big, but out of camp.
Yeah.
We won't mention him.
Never had that problem.
It's a vital thing to the sport in Ireland. Like, it's building lovely now. The shows need to stay active, and the lads need to live the life. Yeah. And we all know fighters who don't.
But they have to be willing to take the opportunities as well.
Yeah. I think that's the ones that don't now will get found out because they're not fighting against the lower level journeymen that are just pushovers. You know, you go in against. It doesn't matter what the ability is. If you go against an Irish lad and he's bringing a crowd with him, his heart, and if he's 100% fit and you've got all the ability in the world, it means nothing. If you're not living the life, so the life has to be lived.
Another one on tomorrow's card that we can kind of touch on, that's a good example of is our old club mate, Tony McGlynn.
We're going to move on to that fight now because that's our last one.
Tony hasn't fought in what?
May last year.
May 2024, so nearly a year and a half.
17 months.
Yeah, 17, 18 months out of the ring. Was coming back for a rematch with Dave Ryan. Obviously, Dave has got an opportunity on a Queensbury show. Wish him the best of luck against a 15-0 guy. If he loses, maybe Tony will say, look, let's do it for the Irish title if Dave wants it, if that's a possibility. But Tony didn't say to you, just get me someone in here that I can bowl them over. Yeah. Tony's like, I want to come back, and he's in with an undefeated English lad.
Whose hotel that I'm staying in is full of English. He's brought 30
lads
over.
He's coming
here to win.
He's
here to win.
But yeah, 7-0, he's not coming to lie down either way. Even when he came over on his own, he's not coming over to lie down either way.
He's here. He's been on the small hall scene in the UK. No real televised cards and looking through his record. Okay enough opponent. Standard English journeyman we'd all be familiar with. You'd see them around the scene. He has no stoppages, so maybe he doesn't pack a punch. Tony McGlynn can whack. But again, Tony McGlynn hasn't been in the ring in 7-8 months. His opponent has had 4 fights in that time. You're coming in this fight number 5 in a year and a half. You're flying. He looks in shape. Today. You're kind of going, he's living the life here.
Coming off a loss as well.
And he's confident. Do you know what I mean? Tony had, I don't even want to get into that last controversial fight and the scorecard that makes the fight look like it wasn't competitive at all. It was a fight that he lost it by around. It read 78.
To be fair, when I watched it back, I had him losing. I'll be honest, I had got him losing. I thought because of the knockdown, you give Tony. I basically gave him 4 rounds of the. I gave him 4 rounds. I gave him 3 rounds with the 10-8, so Dave 5 to his 3. That's the way I kind of scored it.
It was a close fight. The scorecards don't reflect that. He had to rebuild. He got announced as the winner of the fight. He got given the belt, only to go back to his changing room and have the officials come and take the belt off you.
Me come and take it.
That's soul destroying.
Hard.
Like, I mean, losing, fair enough, being told you've won and having that's a mental aspect of boxing that none of us could understand. If that hasn't happened to you, I don't know how you could understand it. I can only imagine how difficult it was. I think he was in the States training for a little while at one point there just to get away.
To Boston,
just
starting fresh over
to
there.
Try live the life a little bit more. He seems focused.
The penny drop. His missus having a baby.
Yeah, I think he knows now. This is it.
I think he just said to me, he said, Mrs. pregnant on now. He said, I need to get the head down. I want to do this. And he just said to me, don't get me no journeyman, Jay. I don't want any journeyman. So I just said to him, right, okay, leave it with me. I sent him over 3 opponents. I had one lined up. It was a Greek fella. I think he was like 15 for 3 or something like that. I was liking him. I sent him to Tony. I said, look, have a look. I said, my preference would be this fella. I think he suits you. And he back goes, get me that one. And I said, are you sure?
And that's the record.
I said, are you sure? And he goes, 100%. But he said, hey, that's going to keep me in camp, keep me training. He goes, he's actually better than Dave. When I checked our records, he was actually 200 places ahead of Dave on the box rec. So I said, well, he is 200 places higher. And he goes, exactly. So he says, I'll be him. He said, and it's going to push me better. He goes, he said, fuck Dave. He says, I'm done with him. He says,
and I mean, look, from a business perspective, I understand Dave Ryan going for the Queensbury fight. I get it, 15-0, big card. Your man's 15-0, and I'm going to be honest with him, he doesn't look great. No. He's a bit of one of those records where you're going, he built it up well.
He's a typical UK, big platform record. They get to 10-0 without throwing a punch.
A fight that Dave could win, I understand it. But then Tony gets the win tomorrow, and you're kind of going, who's on par now? Do you know what I mean? Who should be fighting for this or this title? It's a rivalry that I think, given the controversial ending to the first fight, it'll happen again.
To be honest with you, and I don't know, is it possible to happen? Because they trained together for so long. But in theory, if Tony was to win tomorrow, him and Senna are on the same level.
Yeah.
Possibility as well, yeah.
They did train together for a long time, but the both of them are at 140. The both of them, Senna's okay coming off a loss.
Yeah.
Tony's now got the win.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know. I manage both lads, so I don't know. But I'm just thinking of the lads at the weight. There's really only them.
Lee Reeves.
Lee Reeves. I did say April, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't know if Lee.
I don't think Lee would. I don't think Lee. He had said he'd fight Senna. He had said he'd fight Senna, and we tried to make it. he's, you know, I think he had an injury or something, and then he was going off to Canada to fight, and that's. So I don't know if he really
It's a
wants
strange one because welterweight and light welter used to be packed in this country, and now you're kind of going. Well, now
we can't really.
Is Tyrone McKenna finished? Is he? Because I mean, one of the lads want to fight Tyrone.
It's hard to talk about what's next for Tony before this because this is
absolutely.
Fight, so
he has to come through this, like this.
Yeah, he has to come through.
If Tony was to lose this one, I think the heart could go over completely.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say about Tony is, as you know, you've trained him and yourself. Tony's actually very, very good.
He's exceptional.
Tony, he used to mirror me, to be honest with you, and that's how good his boxing ability was. He was very, very good.
Your style and Tony's style, you have to be fit.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
And what I will say about this opponent,
you have to be fit.
I haven't seen this opponent, but you're saying he hasn't no stoppages. That's the only thing I will say is probably a good thing with Tony is this fella's going to try to outbox him, and it's hard to outbox Tony.
He's not
Tony is a very, very good boxer. He's underrated how good his boxing ability is.
Now I watched 2 of Blanchard's fights. He didn't seem like a big high pressure fighter,
he just looks like he does the basics right.
Yeah, he does them well. He's a crafty boxer. There's not much whacking the punch, but I feel with Tony, if you just sit off him, you're not gonna beat him.
No.
Like if he comes forward and he's on his chest, but he didn't. The 2 fights I watched, he didn't seem like
no big volume.
In a 6-round
and that's
fight.
what with Dave Ryan is. Dave Ryan is volume.
Yeah, Dave Ryan will just walk through.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Tony had two very, very good rounds with Dave.
Yeah.
But you could say he probably nicked the third, right?
And,
if Tony done the exact same in this fight, that was Tony at the worst I've ever seen him conditioning-wise in the ring. He was 4 rounds up after 3. Tomorrow night's only 6 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, and look.
So even the worst Tony was good enough to take 4 rounds off Dave. Okay, it was 3 with the knockdown. So if your man comes out tomorrow night and Tony's fit,
he should have ran it. Look at the.
I don't think a man can get near him. I think Tony could stop him.
It's no disrespect to Blanchard. Like I've only seen a very little bit of him. He's 7-0, and it's a similar thing with Crowley. And you said he's fans over here.
Big aura still on the
field. You don't bring fans over with you.
If you're coming on the road,
they're coming on the road. Like, they're here to have a little party tomorrow night. Like so,
and celebration.
Tony's gonna have to be switched on again. I hope he's been getting good rounds in because that inactivity.
I watched him spar. He done 6 rounds with Glenn Lynch. Now Glenn Lynch is a unit.
Yeah, he's a big lad. Another one fighting tomorrow.
Big boy. He done 6 rounds with Tony, and I spoke to Tony that week coming up, and he wasn't well. He had a bit of a bug. He was like a bit of a flu, and he was bunged up in the hole. And I went in. He had a very good 4 rounds with Glenn. Last 2 rounds he was tired and alright.
Yeah.
But he was barking into the towel at the end of the rounds, and he wasn't well genuinely. Yeah. So I do believe that the 6 rounds is definitely in him, because if you're standing, and you know the size of Glenn, if you're doing 6 rounds with Glenn,
he's a big lad.
Glenn's about a 1.5 taller than your man, and probably a foot wider. Like, he's a unit.
What I would say about Tony as well, the last camp he had an awful camp today. Like I heard all sorts of problems. I know he's in Crumlin now. I know he's with Phil, Padman, and my dad's down there helping him out. So there's 3 of them down there. As far as I know, the camp's been going well for him. You know what I mean? I know Glenn Lynch had a very good camp.
They've been the last 3-4 weeks. Him and Tony have been side by side in camp, and like Tony's he works in the pub, the grandfather's pub or something like that.
He does. Yeah.
He's finishing work at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's sending me 10k runs and 11k runs. He's running home from the pub at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, time doesn't mean that. You're doing them runs, you're doing the runs, but he's doing them. And
keep the weight down.
I was talking to him the other night. He was saying the other morning, saying how his weight was, and I said, "Geez, Tony, you don't have to do that." And I said, "Just relax now, bud." He goes, "Yeah, I think I might just go and do a 5k." He said, "Just to keep yourself ticking over." I think it was
just the mental aspect.
So I said, "Right." He went out and then he sent me a 10k. I said, "What do you do a 10k for?" He goes, "Jay, I swear to God," he said, "I set out to just do a slow 5k, and I think he done a 4.5 minute 10k."
Yeah. I think what happens with Tony sometimes not mentally tough. That's the problem with Tony. And I know how good Tony is. I've sparred him for years. I know how good he is. He doesn't know how good he is. That's his problem. And I've sparred him. Like, I remember when I was at my best in the amateurs, Tony was giving me as good as I got all day long. And I was ready. My reactions, everything was spot on, and he was good. And he still didn't realise how good he was. That's what Tony's problem is. And I think with the camp, the way that what I was told about the last camp, he needs everything to go perfect in his head. If not, he's already starting to doubt himself. As far as I know, everything's running smooth at the moment. So maybe if he keeps the head down, good win here. It's a start of something good for him. I'd like to see him. I'd love to see him and Senegona. You know, and I think that could happen as well, because
but I think he has the ability, Tony, to be
Tony has the building to be anyone.
But I think he has the ability.
Tony has the building to be anyone.
You look at any, like, the 140s in the country.
Yeah.
Tony's ability.
There's not a massive amount of them, and who's going to want it with him? Like
you've got Barry McReynolds up north, he's 2-0, I get that.
Yeah,
but,
he's a young lad,
you know,
he won't be screaming
he's
for
a big puncher, but Tony's ability, and Tony can take a punch.
Yeah.
Then you've got Senan, he's ahead of Tony at the minute. But I think this win...
Senan gone back to 140, staying there?
Yeah, he was 140 in the last fight, you know, and he will get another chance on the Wasserman show to go, because it was close enough, that fight. So, Senan at the minute is ahead of them.
Yeah, definitely.
But I believe a win tomorrow night for Tony really says, right, next I want the fight. I want the title fight.
He wants it now.
You know, so he is close. And then if Dave Ryan was to lose, it's 2 losses in the bounce.
I still think the Dave Ryan fight will happen at some point.
I think it will. I think because
it's just about when will it happen.
Well, like for it to be for a belt, which Tony's not going to just fight him for nothing now.
Yeah,
because if he gets his win, Dave's going to have to get a win.
If Dave loses, he has to get a win, so it'll never happen the next fight.
He could be looking and going, that's a year away.
Yeah,
because Dave's
kicking it down the road.
You know, where's Dave going to get the win? You know, and so, but no, I think you're both going Tony obviously tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm going with Tony.
Well,
to be honest, it wouldn't matter who we did. Like, I've been friends with Tony for years. I'd have picked him anyway. I wouldn't have mattered. But I think he knows he has to win tomorrow. Granted, the last one was controversial. He chose this opponent. You've told us. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He knows it gets him back in the mix straight away. No pissing about. But he has to win tomorrow. Otherwise, it's done. It's over.
Tony wins all day with anyone. Only the one who beats Tony is Tony himself.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him do a bit more with my father, because I know my father can do good things with him. And like I said to him, he needs to be mentally strong, because boxing ability has never been in question.
No, absolutely. Like, those first 2 rounds in the Celtic title fight was exceptional.
I watched the first round. I watched that first round and walked out. I thought he was going to stop.
Yeah, it's over, like.
Because I was just out. It's the night I fought, wasn't it? I fought Dave Allen.
Alan White.
Alan White
fought that night, yeah.
So everyone was grabbing out me. I watched the first round, and I said to myself, I haven't really seen much Dave Ryan at the time. People were saying he was good and didn't see much of him. And I just seen the first round. I said, levels of difference. Levels here. I walked out and then I heard he won, then I heard he lost. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's a big one for him tomorrow. He has to pull it off. Silence those English fans. Lay down a marker just to say, look, I'm back now and I'm ready to fight. He needs to be more active. He knows that. I mean, we all know there was a little bit of pissing about between fights agreed and not agreed that had kept him out of the ring. He just has to say yes now.
Start to get the ball moving. Now
just say yes now.
You shared the ring with Senan.
Yeah.
You just said you liked that fight. Who wins that fight? Senan or Tony?
So, like I said,
the best of Senan, the best of Tony.
The only one who beats Tony is himself. That's what anyone I'd say. Even if I put him in there with Tyrone, I'd say the same thing. Like, anyone I can think of, Tony only beats himself.
Tony was 75 kg intermediate champion.
Yeah.
And only because he was a little bit lazy, didn't train hard enough to make 69, and said, "Oh, just do it." And look, don't get me wrong.
you always had to be good to win an intermediate title until you won it.
He beat Keelan Cassidy until I won. Yeah, he beat Keelan Cassidy in that final, who's gone on to be one of our best elites. He was very novice at the time. I think he only had 7 or 8 fights, but it was a good, solid win by Tony against a much bigger guy.
Yeah.
So that shows you where the skill can carry him. He's got the training. You were saying he's talking about 135. I think it's too much.
I don't think.
No, I think 140 is Tony's best fight.
140 is where he's at.
I think he could take fights at 147 as well if the opportunity, like if him and Senan came for the Irish title again, I was faking at 147.
Yeah.
I could see it happening.
Jump on it. Yeah. Especially both lads are in around there's no one.
I think he's 140. I think 140 suits him.
But I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Tyrone McKenna either.
I don't think Tyrone will fight anyone in Ireland. I don't think.
Tyrone. The value wouldn't be in Tyrone.
Yeah, and he deserves to have them. Tyrone deserves to have them.
He's earned it. He's earned it.
Tyrone was gone after the last fight until Eddie Hearn, I think, called him and said, "Well done, and you really return." I think Tyrone said, "Here, I can see money here." You know, Tyrone's not coming to Dublin to fight someone for 5 or 6 years. He's earned it now at this stage. To be fair to Tyrone,
Tyrone will roll the dice until he picks up another loss. He'll keep rolling until he picks up, and I think after the next loss, he'll pack in unless it's a massive money fight again.
I think another one who's earned that spot tomorrow, just the last little shout out for him, is Spike O'Sullivan as well. And in what I imagine is his last fight.
Spike is the old school out of all.
Do you know what? It's actually not his last fight. So the plan was to bring him back, and we were going to try. We're going to try to get some international belt or something that we could get on the line for him to have a fight in Dublin after so many years and go out in, in front of the fans and the home fans and all. But because he'd been out of the ring for so long, we couldn't. And so what the plan was to get him a win, to get him back winning and get him, nothing's a guaranteed win these days, but get him back, get him in the ring, see how he feels, back home as well. And then I know he's mad to fight Nathan Heaney. And it's being mentioned, and I think Heaney said he's open to it. We've suggested bringing it to Dublin, but I think Frank Warren will pay an awful lot more money to fill out the Stoke card. So Stokes willing to, or Spike is willing to go there. So I think that's the plan for Spike at the minute. But I don't think tomorrow's his last night. I think. And he done the weight. The weight was agreed at 164 for today, and he came in at 162, and that tells you. He had a good camp. You come in 2 pound underweight, that usually would tell you had a decent camp.
That's because he's terrified of Roddy Collins and the football match he's going to play on Saturday. Unfortunately, he's playing for Shamrock Rovers, so I can't support Spike tomorrow. Can't do that. That's betrayal. I'm a St. Pat's man. But I would actually. I'm intrigued with the Heaney fight. Like, obviously, Heaney had a very quick up and down.
Very limited though.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
It's a ticket seller. It's a ticket seller. That's how he gets us.
And you know yourself, if I have a lad that sells 2,000 tickets easy,
I'm gonna look.
I will make sure he fights. I will make sure he fights the right people at the right time.
But it's hard for Spike as well. He's been around so long. It's hard to keep in that mind frame for so long.
Do you know what I think is amazing? I think Louise in the car. How good is it for the lads to have Spike O'Sullivan on their undercard?
41 years old, still going, has fought for the world title, fought in...
Like, he's financially stable from boxing.
Definitely
absolutely. From boxing.
He's probably one of the biggest profile we've ever had in Ireland, as in the way he's self-promoting himself.
For the way he got that Chris Eubank Jr. fight was outrageous. Let's be honest, he just abused them on social media and
it's
on
not
videos.
It's not the ideal way.
It's not the ideal way, but he goaded them into a fight, a high value fight, and it was a good 100%. Fight while it lasted. But like, he's fought, looking at Lemieux. We fought Lemieux in the Vegas. He's fought in the T-Mobile in Vegas. He fought in the Aladome, I think in San Antonio, Brooklyn Centre, MSG, obviously the Tree Arena. He had a heap of fights in Neptune down in Cork. The O2 Arena in the UK. I think he fought in the Wembley Arena. You're looking at it going, he's travelled the world in big fights. He's been in with Lara, in with Billy Joe Saunders, in with Eubank Jr.
That's what I just think for the young lads, like, and even like there's the debutants tomorrow, Christina making her debut, young Sarah making her debut, Daniel making his debut.
Like Joyce making
they're sharing a card with Spike O'Sullivan. Like, as
it's a
like most lads
memory thing.
Like you look at all our cards over the last. You were probably the highest profile on our cards that we've had up to date, from your experience and the fights you've been in, the big fights you've been in. But like, they're now fighting on the card with world title challengers, and it's unbelievable.
I remember hearing like the late great Ricky Hatton there, like his debut where the second fight was on Nassim Hamed on that card. Like having that history in itself, he fought on Naz's on that card, and that was part of inspiring him to go on and achieve what he achieved. You were going like, these world title challengers, and you're standing there with him, and like, we've all met Spike, lovely fella, down to earth sound, like. But you look at world title, if you're a young lad, you're looking on the telly and you're going, these are just a different level. They're a celebrity. 100%. Then you realise, it's just one of the blokes. Like, he just worked hard and got to where he got to. Like,
I think it's a great example for the younger people on the card sitting there. That's why we had him in the middle. I said, tomorrow, like, they ought to be looking up to the likes of that and going, it's where he started.
To go back on that, Colin Crowley, the Cork man, like, he's going to look at Spike, and even that, not pressure, but he's going to want to win a title. Spike is there. Passing, some sort of passing to the guard of Cork boxing, do you know what I mean? No disrespect, Tommy Hoyd, I'm not. Don't mind anyone coming after me here. I already potentially have Peter Carr.
I was going to say, Peter already at your door.
But like, it's one of them. It's fantastic. You mentioned the debutants. There's a couple of people early on. Like we've Kelsey Leonard there in our second fight. We've seen how women's boxing has excelled globally over the last couple of months. Like, not the last couple of years. Are we going to potentially see big female fights in Ireland in the not too distant future?
Three tomorrow coming in at 3 different weights.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
But they're very close though.
There. Like, I know, I think the EBU, there's been Commonwealth and British titles for what's that? Lauren, the Olympic gold medalist.
Lauren Price.
She fought for the British title.
Yeah, that was the first time ever.
Yeah, exactly.
There's never been an Irish Celtic or BUI Celtic or Irish champion as a female.
There's history there to be made.
No.
So there's an opportunity for a historic night there. You could have a couple of female fights. We've plenty of lads willing to fight each other now. And then the EBU have a couple of female titles on the line.
Yeah.
Like that's an element of the sport that I feel is probably still a little bit overlooked. We're a small pool here in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? There's not dozens of girls like there is in other countries, but if they start winning, like you have like Christina Desmond there, a European silver medalist who kind of fell out of love with the sport, came back in, 6 or 7 elite titles.
19 Irish titles.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? 6 or 7 there being elite.
Olympic champion.
Yeah, in the youth, and then she won the European silver. She's kind of going, like she'd be in and around that Lauren Price weight category straight away.
I would like to think though, we obviously don't manage her. We're just helping her out with this show. But I'd like to think like if she gets managed properly, she could be in pole position within 12 months.
Yeah.
Like you got to invest into her now because she's got the pedigree. She's got it down. If I was managing her now, I'd be looking and going, right, okay, we're going to invest in her. We got to get her out next month. We got to get her out next month. We got to get her out the month after.
There's a real opportunity.
You need to. I'd have her up quickly. Like if you get a woman fight or 5 fights, 5 of the right fights, you bring in an Indian that's 6-1. You bring in a Nigerian that's 6 or 7-1. All of a sudden, after 3-4 fights, they're in the top 16 in the world.
Yeah, and then you can start cracking.
There's usually only about 50 to 60 in each weight class. So how quick can you get?
Yeah.
Like there's 1 or 2 weights that there's about 100 in the weight class, but you know yourself at a welterweight in the men's it's like 2,000. In the women's you're going as 150. You know what I mean? 2-3 wins and they're banging. That's what has to happen.
Yeah, no, that's just prospectively. You know, there's a good market there, and hopefully we'll see it doing well over the next year or so in Ireland. Who do we think steals the show tomorrow? Either individually or a fight in and of itself.
I'm going to stick to my guns and say Daniel and Dean.
Yeah.
For me, fight tonight.
Boxing IQ, that's what it's going to be.
I think Daniel's going to bring Dean into a fight, and I think it's going to become a fire fight.
Yeah, I think on that one, I don't disagree. I think we're going to see real violence in the Cara Murray fight. And don't get me wrong, it's not about being violent. We want to see skillful boxing, we do, but everyone loves to watch it tear up, and I think we're going to get it in that fight.
What's the one moment in the night? Everyone always said, someone said to me, another promoter said to me one time, you only need one moment of a show to go viral. What's the moment?
Tomorrow,
Peter Carr,
just one bomb.
When I stoppage doing something silly after.
Yeah,
that. You could see him doing something mad.
Or if Eddie cracks Paul, and we find out right then and there, a heavy shot, not just a glance in right hand.
Your shot in the dark is Edward catching Paul, knocking Paul out.
That's
and yours is Peter Carr knocking Sean out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I think it's a real shot in the dark. I don't think Eddie packs that whack.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, well, as Paul, we've seen Edward saying like Paul's on the slide. It was in an article in the paper.
Irish Independent.
He's on the slide and I'm on the come up, and I'm going, if there's any truth to that, which look, it's only a fighter's opinion, if he cracks him and he is so much in it, we're going to learn a lesson about Paul, or we're going to figure out that Paul grits down and is like, no, they argued about who has a bigger heart, and I remember Edward saying on his episode before he talked, no one has a bigger heart than me, and Paul was a little bit going, no, we'll see. Yeah. So there's a test in itself. But yeah, I agree with Declan as well. I think we're going to see something special.
It's a serious card all in. Like, be honest with you, some serious fights.
And we could be wildly wrong on a lot of these fights, and they could be over. They're not on that too. Like.
I just don't think it's going to be a boring night. I think it's going to be the best show in the stadium in a long, long time. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a great night to be involved in.
Absolutely. Like the intrigue of it is the fights where you're going, no, we'll go the distance, and then 3 minutes in, we're going, so that one's over. You know, there's lads who possess the potential to show us a level they haven't shown us before. Colin Crowley could come out and go, you didn't know I could do this, did you? Boom. Yeah. And you're going, oh, Jesus Christ. Could be the same with Dean and Daniel. Like, Daniel might love the fact that he's not being written off. He's the champion, and he's won 2 belts. but he's still coming in as the underdog here against a guy less experienced in a professional sense. And maybe he's going to go, oh yeah, you'll see about this now. I love that element of lads who, well, they might even say this and they'll say, yeah, them three writing me off, and they're going, oh yeah, I'll happily eat my words tomorrow. That kind of way.
It's all about opinions, so you know what I mean. You have an opinion. We've just been fights there that just haven't agreed on.
Now we're viewing it differently.
It is opinions, and you're looking at it from a different style of boxing. If I wasn't managing Sinfers, I'm not going to have the same opinion as you, because you're boxing. You're two lads. I think boxing. I think fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's depending, and a boxer should not take.
He's just thinking about ticket sellers here, and that's
fighters. No, but I don't think
the problem with this, what we're picking fights is, Ireland's so small that you're going to offend someone, and it's going to be something you know personally.
But boxers shouldn't take it personal. When it comes to a lad taking an opinion,
I've took it personally when I've had me domestic fights and someone's picking something and saying, what a wanker.
Like, we'll be getting slagged now. Someone won't like what I've said here, and they'll send me the video of that journeyman knocking me out, and they'll wind me up, and I'll go, alright, now I hope you do get knocked out. But and look, they've made weight, they've been struggling in camp. A lot of the lads are not in their right mind here, so it can be difficult to see anyone say anything of any sort of criticism about you. It isn't personal, it's how I've viewed the fights. You've sat ringside, I've sat ringside. And I think at times, and I said that, we can see things in lads that they don't realise they're doing or not doing. Like I've sat there sometimes and I'm looking going, why is he not throwing that shot? Where is Conor not telling them to throw that shot?
But he just said and done as well.
Absolutely.
You know.
But again, I always say that as well. Like it comes from the coach has a style.
Yeah.
You're watching it from a different way of boxing.
That's all it is.
His way. And I'd be the same watching and going, this is why is he not throwing that?
It's just
and
the
you're
way
calling someone a bad coach for that.
It's the way you've come up through the sport and you're going, well, I always threw that shot when this happened. Yeah. But maybe their coach, he wouldn't counter to the head. He'll walk to the body, and you're kind of, it's obvious to us. And then you get into disagreements with it. There'll be people who disagree with us no matter what we say here. Like, we could get every single one of these predictions right. Yeah. And there'll still be someone underneath this video calling us tossers.
The four main fights, and then Tony as well, I take my hat off to every single one of them.
Yeah.
Undercard, their time will come. But
to be fair to the undercard, Christina and Kelsey Leonard are both fighting girls that are 1-0 with one knockout. Yeah. So them two fights are someone's always got to go as such. Yeah. And you know, again, what you just said, the two girls have flown in. They've been in the ring once as a pro. They've knocked their opponents out in the first round as pros.
Yeah. They don't know defeat.
They don't know. They haven't gone on the road as such. So they're coming in to win. Yeah. So I think credit to the two girls as well, because you know yourself, it's usually on your debut you get that pass. Yeah. Now personally, I do believe both girls will probably stop their opponents. But in a debut, there's a lot to overcome.
No, absolutely.
So the girl, it's not someone that's 0 to 10 that's been knocked out 8 times.
My debut was in Tala Basketball Arena against, I think it was a Czech lad or a Slovakian lad. He's still knocking around at about cruiserweight these days. Zoltan.
You get a rematch. Do
you know what his record was? I thought.
He was 1-2 when I fought him.
I fought a fella called Sid Radad.
No, Rad's
Sid, yeah.
And he was like 500 losses. Yeah. But I mean, he knew how to do the ring, you know.
Jordan Brown for nearly 200 fights, and he'd beat 90% of the middleweights in the country that he wanted to be.
Yeah. So like your man that beat me in my second fight, Mithev.
Remember him?
Like 7 and 88 or something, and he caught me with a bomb and sent me to another round.
Something went on that night. He just came out. It was like he was on steroids.
I fought a fella and he had a losing record, and same Craig, he hit me and I went on the bike and losing record, beat him and probably actually one of the hardest fights I've ever had, even with my losses, the hardest fights I've ever had. And he went on and draw with Tico Martina one fight after. Yeah, I should have beaten Tico.
And the thing
and his record was, and like you're thinking as a standard gonna win, standard
like
normal night it's gonna be, you know what I mean?
Just on those points, like two those making their debut or early on, particularly the debutants tomorrow, embrace that moment and enjoy it.
It goes so fast, I say that.
It's over. Like you've said a few times, like 10 years past you, boy, and you're going, tomorrow it might be your only fight. Yeah. You don't know. I only had 2, and I was like, it wasn't about me. But take in the moment, get your family to record little bits of it, have the clips. I have a brutal recording of my debut because I wasn't focused.
Yeah.
You want to have this memory to look back on you get a free pass potentially, but keep those hands up because you could, even if you're in with a journeyman who's lost his last 10, he might want to switch it on tonight, because we've all seen lads do their job who then go, do you know what, I'm sick, I need a win on the record.
Well, what happens is with a lot of them, the board will take their licence.
Yeah.
Unless they get out and show
they have to prove
so
it.
Yeah.
Like we see one that stood out to me there, like we see Podge Collins is on tomorrow night. He's fighting an opponent coming in with a win. Your man's 1-2, similar to the guy in my debut against. He won there, I think, 2 weeks ago. He's coming in confident.
Of course, yeah.
Journeyman and not no journeyman. Like he's coming in there going, I've got to win. We were talking about guys who haven't tasted defeat. Yeah. He finally tasted a win. You know what I mean? 2 losses and a win. He's going to go, I prefer this feeling. Like, so it's dangerous early on in your career, the debut even, and you're coming into the stadium. There might be 50, packed. 60, 70 people that you know. Packed. Like on top of the other crowd. There's pressure there. Some of these lads might have only fought in the stadium once or twice. We were lucky enough that the amateurs, we live in Dublin, we were always fighting in the stadium. If you're not from Dublin, you fought in the stadium once or twice. You walk out and there's 400 people staring at you, there's cameras going 90, and that pressure is on you. And all of a sudden you've got them little 8-ounce gloves on where you can feel your knuckles, you're going, uh-oh.
This is different.
This is a different
even though I thought about journeyman, even like Glenn Lynch is fighting Geraghty, and I fought him. And I tell you one thing, he hit me with a punch at the wood go, and I said, fuck that, I'm going on my bike. And I jabbed the head off him for the whole fight. But saying crack, the record, don't let it deceive you.
Yeah, like he's fought.
Last fight he was here with Ushian, do you remember that?
Yeah,
Ushian cut across both eyes. And
was it a close fight? Or
was
fight? He looked very good.
He looked good in the fight, Ushian did, but Geraghty brought work, like he made him earn that result, like, and that's Geraghty. I think he's heading for 100 fights now. I think he's only 110.
So never be deceived by the record.
To know how good he is, he's fought in like 18 different countries. Yeah. That means promoters around the globe have seen him and gone, yeah. He fought on the only ever professional boxing card in Greenland. Yeah. They brought him in for that. Like what the thing to have in your record. This year he's only been fighting kind of UK, Germany. I think he might have done a 2 in Romania. But he fights everywhere, every week. And I've seen him at times in the corner where you're going, he knows he could win this fight if he wanted to.
Yeah, he pulls a finger out.
And you see him coming out and he'll only throw 1 or 2. And then he'll get cracked with a shot and he'll let one go. And you're like, if he let that go a few more times now, there's a defeat happening here tonight.
He's a good man. He's a good role.
He's very good, very tough. Very good, yeah. So Glenn Lynch is in for a test there tonight. He's early on. He didn't have much of an amateur background. He just so happens to be built like a tank. That helps. You know, when you're a big monster and you can punch. But he's only learning. These are the types of fights to step these lads on
as well. You know, he's nearly ready to go into that mix as well.
Yeah. And even your brother Glenn is there at that level as well.
There's about a dozen at 154. Yeah. Genuinely about a dozen.
That's good, yeah.
You know, you could do a prize fighter with them.
Keep rotating them.
You could throw a prize fighter.
Give me 2 years, I'll get back down.
You get quicker than Deco.
Trust me, babe, it's better to stay out of the ring.
Yeah, no.
On that note,
that's it.
We call that a day. So perfect. Just Edward.
Paul. Yeah, it's the test in Edward. If he lands that shot, I really want to see what's of Paul. If I shout at you tomorrow night as I see Paul coming to the ring, Jesus, who's that? That's not the fella that weighed in yesterday. But yeah, 60-40 there, and I'm leaning towards Edward.
Episode 4, Fight Talk, Declan Geraghty, Martin Wall. Thank you for coming, lads.
Cheers, bud.